everybody, it's Jody, also known as the Caffeinated Crafter. I thought that was kind of a cool name because I love coffee, and I think right now I probably shouldn't even be doing the video because I've had a little too much. And I love crafting, so Caffeinated Crafter seemed to fit. However, on my blog, if you've been watching the posts, you've seen that I put up some samples of sort of homework that I've had for this online watercolor class from onlinecardclasses.com. And I mentioned that I'm using my Tombow markers. I actually had to dust these bad boys off. I haven't used them, I would say, probably in years. But I had no other watercolor medium save for watercolor pencils, and I didn't like the effect. To say I wasn't happy with them would be an understatement. So I wanted something that would blend out easily, and keyword being easy. So these Tombow markers fit the bill. So now I'm going to show you, I had some questions from some followers, so I'm actually going to show you a bit of some techniques on how to use them. They're really super easy. They're water-soluble markers, so they react with water. So how easy could that be? Couple things you want to keep in mind. I actually am using watercolor paper. I bought the Tim Holtz watercolor paper, haven't used it yet. To be honest, it was a little pricey. I bought this from Hobby Lobby. It's a 6x6, it's got 12 sheets. It's got kind of like a rough side and a little smoother side, so if you want to do some stamping. $2.49, didn't really break the bank. Also, now this is old school ink pad, but this is actually our Carvel ink by Ranger. They still make it, packaging is completely different, but it's waterproof. This is key. I tried it with Memento ink, thinking, okay, well, Copic Markers works with Memento. It doesn't work with water. So, just as an FYI. You could probably use StazOn too. I haven't tried that yet, but maybe that'll be an upcoming video. Okay, a couple other things you want to have. Clean paper towel. Yeah, okay, maybe not quite so clean now, but I've got clean spots, so I'm still counting it as clean. And of course, water. In one of my other videos, I show what I'm using here. That's what I'm using. Okay, so I stamped the image a couple of times just so that I could play with it a little bit and figure out what color scheme I want, because I've got two different color schemes, the yellow and the fuchsia and the yellow and the red. So right now I'm just going to work with the yellow and the fuchsia, and I'm just kind of using a plain, paintbrush. So you can see here I've done a little bit of practicing, especially if you're using a vibrant color like a dark pink or red even, a little will go a long way. So if you just I'm doing the direct to paper technique, and you can see I've maybe put it on like a fifth of the image, like I'm not covering the whole image whatsoever. So I'm going to dip my paintbrush in the water. I don't want it super wet. You can have too much water, it could start to pill, but you can see how easily it just blends right out. Really easy. Super quick. Now you'll notice here that because the leaf is a little, or the petal is a little bit smaller, because I put the ink down here, the marker down here, even here it's not a lot of shading. So what you could do is just add a bit more water, take your clean paper towel and dab it off. So you get more of a gradient of shading. And then if you don't like the harsh lines, just add a bit more water and blend it right out. Super easy, super quick. Okay, another way you can do it is like a palette technique. You can use any kind of plastic, even like plastic wrapper. To be honest, I'm using my desktop, but for, video purposes, I'm using the palette or the block that I used to stamp the image with. So I'm actually just scribbling it right on here like this. Not super fancy, not super graceful. Picking up, dip it in the water first, pick it right up from here, and just put it directly to the paper. And even, you can see with that, I probably even picked up a little too much, so I'm going to dab my paintbrush in the water and just blend it out a little bit. And to be honest, that's it. It's not super hard. It's this technique using the Tombow markers, really user-friendly. Now you can see here I maybe took off, there's not much shading, so I'm just going to dab a bit more in my palette and get a bit more blending and stuff. Yeah. So now that's the basic technique. Now you can also blend the colors too. So let's do that. I'm going to do a little bit down here. And I'm going to use the yellow up here at the top. Okay, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. You'll notice that I didn't actually put it right directly next to it because I want more of it blended. I don't want the pink to kind of overtake the yellow. So you'll see the magic happen in a minute. Ooh, guess I should start getting a manicure if I want to keep doing these videos. Oh, but that's a side note. Again, I blame the coffee. So grab my water, and I'm probably going to start with the lightest color. Blend that out a bit. And then I'll just pull the pink into the yellow. Just like that. So, really easy. Now I'm going to try it with the different colors. Now using red, if any of you have ever used red in like other medium like red paint, red, I'm thinking specifically of Copic markers, red markers, you know that it can be super difficult to work with. It can overtake everything. So very little I'm using here. I don't know if you can even see how little I'm using. Just that little bit right there. Okay. Zoom back out. Okay. And now I'm going to color in with the yellow. And I'll just grab my paint. I feel like I should be having some music or something playing in the background. I know it's really super exciting you guys watching me color, but this is a technique video. So I have to show some technique. Just saying. Okay, so blend the yellow out a bit. Pull up that red. And like I said, if you find you've got water pooling, you can just grab your clean paper towel, dab it off a bit. Super quick, super easy. Now I'm not going to bother doing the whole card. I know y'all want to, I know y'all are super excited to watch me color, but I'm just going to show you the palette technique one more time. Basically, scribble it right on there. I know it dries up like that and it doesn't look like there's a lot of color, but trust me, there is. Now, also another tip, I'm going to bring my water thing up here. You can see on the far right how it's kind of pinky. Now, if I were to dip my brush into that water that's got that pink tone and try to blend the yellow, obviously the pink color would blend into the yellow and I'd get like an orange tone. So if you're blending light colors, you kind of always want to use some fresh water. So just keep that in mind. Grab the red, and I'm just going to do a whole new leaf here. Now I barely touched that palette to pick the color up, and look how much I've gotten. So like I said, the red, a little will go a long way. And then you can blend it out to almost where it's the pink tone. So, and like I said, the ease of using these markers I really like. A lot of watercoloring techniques, they suggest that you wet your area first and then try to do it. So let me show you that, because I didn't really care for that. So, not using a lot of water, and I don't know if you can see, I'm getting like a pink, because my water's getting dirty. I got a bit of a pink tone here. It's really faint, but you can see that it's kind of pinky. So, just like I said, that just demonstrates what I was talking about earlier. Oh, we'll zoom out a bit. So now what you could do is you could actually take your pen direct to the paper now that it's wet, and you get this. I really wasn't happy with this technique at all. I tried, blending it out a bit. It was just really, really faint. I want my cards to have some color and punch, so that really didn't work out for me too well. So like I said, the direct to paper, much happier with. I'll just blend that out. Now, the also thing I didn't like either, I wouldn't recommend taking the color directly from here. I'm not sure over time what the water would do to the nib, but it would probably warp it. So as you can see, I mean, I've still got pretty good, you know, shape to the nib here, so I wouldn't take the water directly and pull it from here. I would use the palette technique. I think that's going to give you your best results. Yeah, and as you can see, I'm still working from that little blurb that I did, and look, it just overtook. And like I said, the red, hard to work with. It just overtook all the yellow that I just did. So just keep that in mind. If you're working with red, a little will go a long way. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you learned some interesting tips and techniques. On my blog, I'll probably post the final product. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Hope you guys have a good day.